The purpose of today's protest is to educate citizens in Baltimore and those that are hearing us and seeing us that we're trying to get information either to the Board of Parole in Atlanta, Georgia, or to the governor, or to the United States Attorney General for one of them to do something to stop this execution. The group that can really stop it is the parole board that's going to meet on Monday. I talked to them last evening. They have a meeting scheduled for Monday to discuss this issue, and we're hoping that will be the place where they will stop this execution. The second goal is to get the governor to do it. The judge that issued the order, the judge could actually remove it, but we don't think that's likely. We think the best thing is the parole board would actually give him a pardon and not execute him, and that's what we're hoping. Over 650,000 letters were delivered this week by the NAACP to that board, and we're Facebooking, emailing, calling, faxing, doing everything we can to try to get them to understand there's not sufficient enough information to execute this man.
Now, I understand, Doc, that a lot of the witnesses in this case, the non-police witnesses, have recanted their testimony.
7 of the 9. 7 of the 9, and you mentioned correctly that none of them were police officers. 7 of the 9 have recanted, including the majority of them indicated they were coerced and or threatened by police to basically indicate that he had done it. There was no weapon found. There were no forensic evidence found in that location as well. And we have a couple of folks have also indicated they have witnesses who said it was someone else. One of the individuals who actually testified against him is one of the people that is and was one of the suspects. So there are just too many questions. You know, someone, yes, did lose their life, but we're very sorry because this was the father of 2 children, a police officer who was actually working off duty that was shot before he could even pull his weapon out. So, of course, we send our love and prayers to that family, but we don't want someone to be executed just because his name was up. And during that period of time, people were being threatened. The whole community down there was frightened because they were snatching up all the black men. We want the person found, we want the person convicted, but there is not enough evidence to convict, well, not really as much convict, but to execute Troy Eugene Davis. There's just not enough information.
Anything else?
We ask folks to pray. You know, God answers prayers, but help us. Fax, email, go on to Facebook. Just help us get the information to the Board of Pardons and Parole not to execute this man on Wednesday.
I understand that Amnesty International online has a petition.
Amnesty has a petition. They haven't said whether or not they feel Troy is innocent, but their work is, of course, not to have death penalties. The Maryland Coalition has done it, NAACP, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, National Action Network, ACLU, former President Carter, the Pope. There are just so many people that have spoken out against this, that this would be a grave injustice. There's not enough information to send this man to the death chamber. Thank you.
Execution of Troy Davis, who's an innocent man on death row. And the execution is imminent. September 21st is the date that they've set for it. So basically, Baltimore has come out here today to say no to the execution and to join with our sisters and brothers across the world saying the same message. Don't execute an innocent man, that the death penalty is racist, that it's biased against poor people, and that we're saying no to that in general.
I understand that most of the non-police witnesses in the case have recanted their testimony.
Absolutely, and they're quite aware of it, so it's startling that they fully know, the state knows, that they are about to execute an innocent person. You're absolutely right. There's evidence that points this out, and yet they're still, gung-ho to go forward on this. And this is the urgency. I mean, there's been like 3 million email messages that have gone out to different officials. We have an email campaign that's going on nationally, internationally, and putting as much pressure as we possibly can on the state to stop the execution.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Reverend C.D. Witherspoon.
And why are you here tonight?
We're here clearly to support Brother Troy Davis, to send a clear and distinctive message to the powers that be that we do not want this gentleman put to death. Our contention is that the evidence has been flipping. There's not enough evidence, quite frankly, as far as we're concerned, to do this. Many of us oppose the death penalty on a fundamental basis for a host of different reasons. I had an opportunity to meet Kurt Bloodsworth in Annapolis a couple of years back, and this was a gentleman who had been on death row, who had been given the death penalty, and he was found to be innocent through DNA testing. This is a white man, and there are also some issues in relationship to race and relationship to the application of the death penalty. So we've got a system that's broken across the board. We found it that it doesn't work, and we quite frankly think the death penalty should be abolished. But in this particular case, we firmly believe that there's not enough evidence to do this. We not only believe that he should not receive the death penalty, but even further, we believe that there should be a new trial, and possibly he should even be exonerated.
Now, I understand, and this was brought up in other interviews, that a number of the non-police witnesses against him have recanted their testimony.
That's exactly right, and that's the grounds that I firmly believe that there's a need for a new trial. And so, you know, the major fight right now, this particular second, is to make it so that he does not receive the death penalty. But after that, we need to be requesting a new trial because of these recanting statements, and there might even be some sort of conspiracy here in the very beginning for him to have been incarcerated and charged with this crime, with all of these, you know, recounting accounts of what happened. So we firmly believe that this should not happen, and we're calling on the consciousness of this entire nation to stand up, to encourage lawmakers from all over the country, to encourage the state of Georgia to do the right thing in relationship to this case.
Anything else, Courtney?
No, we just got to continue to maintain the fight, and we thank you for all that you do in terms of capturing the movement. We just appreciate you.
Well, thanks so much. God bless.
You too.
And your name, sir?
Kaukab Siddiq.
And why are you here tonight?
Well, I am very much against what the justice system is doing to people like Troy. And I'm not only against this case going through the way it is going, but this is becoming like part of this American justice system or injustice system. You know, there is no justice for the poor, for the oppressed, for the downtrodden. Instead, you find America killing hundreds of people in other countries and then saying, oh, we are going to do justice here by executing someone who cannot defend himself. And even when these things come out that he's innocent, then they have a lot of problem going through and accepting that. And it's becoming very common now that people are sentenced to death, people get life imprisonment, and then years later they find, oh no, we made a mistake. You know? So there's something very seriously wrong over here. And you have shameless kind of attitudes towards the people who are poor and oppressed. They're sort of taken as criminal because they're poor, because they didn't have a good defense, because they did something stupid at some time, and then, you know, you just condemn them, and then you convict them, and then you execute. And here we have a case which is just even governmental people are now saying there is those people who were, you know, speaking in his case. Some of them have recanted.
I think 7 or 8 witnesses.
Yeah, and there is innocence is becoming very. I mean, we always thought that one reason why I respected America when I came here was that you have to have proof beyond a reasonable doubt. If there is a reasonable doubt, then you don't convict. Even if you are more or less sure, even reasonable doubt means you let the person go. You can't take the risk of executing an innocent person. So I spoke in my mosque today about this, and I'm from Jamaat al-Muslimin, and I told my people that we don't have to take only him. It's the whole system of what we call justice here, which needs to be looked at very critically. It has to be examined. Why do they keep on doing this? You know, after Geronimo Pratt and other people who were found out that they hadn't done anything wrong, we should have taken a very hard look at this whole thing and stopped these things from happening. There are people in death row. There's a gentleman in death row in Ohio. It's Abdullah Hassan, his name is. He actually stopped a fight in the Ohio prison system, and his thing was that he was an organizer. He brought the white and the black prisoners together. So they said he's an organizer, so the one police security officer who was killed in that fighting, they blamed him for that. You know. The one who was the best of them, they blamed him, and he's on death row. So this really doesn't make any sense. But anyway, nice to talk to you, and glad to be here with you. And hopefully, it looks like a pretty good crowd here
Yeah,
today.
it does.
So I think people are waking up, it seems.
Hopefully. Well, thanks so much, TD.
Thank you.
Good seeing you. Hold on.
Okay.
And your name, sir?
My name's Alex Bennett. Alex Bennett.
Alex, why are you here tonight?
I'm here because maybe you can see my shirt. It says, "I am Troy Davis." I think the death penalty in general harms everyone in society. Not to say it hurts me as much as they want to hurt Troy Davis, but I do still believe in the old saying that an injury to one is an injury to all, and I think in particular the death penalty is used to reinforce racism. I think it's used to divide people. I think it's used to demonize individuals as a way of scapegoating much deeper and more difficult problems to deal with in society that the powers that be don't want to address. And I think in that sick way, they benefit from the death penalty. And Troy Davis's case is just such a clear example of what I think cynical and just sick system capital punishment is in the U.S. You really couldn't have a clearer example of a time when there is just so much doubt surrounding what's going on here. I believe he's innocent personally, but there's just so much doubt. It's unconscionable to think that the state of Georgia is going to execute this guy. And people around the world recognize that. Troy himself, of course, is an extremely outspoken advocate on his own behalf and against and for everyone on death row. And I think the support that's grown around his case is hopeful, though. I mean, it's going to be a terrible blow if he does get executed. But I just hope we're able to carry on with his memory and with the struggle that he has really led himself from behind bars, which is very inspiring to me, and I think will continue to be an important inspiration as the economic crisis continues and as it becomes more and more crucial for us to overcome barriers like racism and to be able to confront the criminal justice system when it is actually becoming a tool of injustice and violence against Americans and regular people.
Okay, thanks so much, Alex.
Thank you.
And your name, sir?
Brendan Walsh.
Now, Brendan, you've been against the death penalty. You're over the prison every week?
Every Monday, yeah.
Every Monday.
Been
so
probably for 10, I don't know how many years, at least a decade. And well, we've succeeded in this with the moratorium in Maryland. But this case in Georgia is so, I mean, it's so unbelievable. Jurors have recanted that, their verdict. They don't have any physical evidence. I mean, it's so bad, and yet we can't stop it. It's just part of the whole crazy thing. I mean, everything is in one big Afghanistan, Iraq, killing, unemployment. The poverty is now at over 15%. I mean, it just seems endless. So I know it's great that some people come out, but I don't know how we can. It's getting harder and harder to stop this stuff, and it's getting worse.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Really pretty bad.
Well, thanks for coming out.
Yes. All right.
And for you too.
Yeah, that's great.